Okay, so let me just see on my phone. So good morning, Mr. Adrian Lansberg.
Good morning, Mr. Slav. How are you?
Good in yourself, sir.
Not bad at all. Thanks, man.
Good. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to the Leroy Slava Show. So this is where we have conversations with entrepreneurs that inspire and experts to admire. So, and I know we've got an entrepreneur here. We've got an expert in many fields. I looked at your profile. I was like, wow, this man does a lot. Eh?
Thanks for inviting me, and thanks to your listeners and viewers. Appreciate.
Yeah, no, thanks for joining us. I know you're busy, and I know you rushed in here to have it. So let's just see if we're live on Facebook. Let me see on my phone. So normally what happens, Adrian, is we got a couple of people. Normally we have it on Wednesday 10 a.m. So we're actually a day late, but that's fine. At least better late than never. And we have a couple of people that join in, but then mostly we have it, people watching it afterwards. A couple of hundred people that watch the videos and the show afterwards. So welcome. And yeah, I'm excited because when I started, guys, in property, this was about 7-8 years ago. And I got to the sheriff's auctions, and I think I was in my mid-20s, plus minus, and no one wanted to help me. I don't know why the guys at the auctions are like this. These property guys, they don't want to help you. They don't want to give you advice. They selfish with information. And and Adrian was the only person that met with me at the time and gave me advice and helped me. And back then, I haven't been to the auction in a while, Adrian. I don't know if you've been there in a while. Back then, it was the black guys buying Forslaw and all the black areas, the colored guys buying Arecha Park, those areas, suburbs, everyone's open field, anyone buys in the suburbs. So and I started buying in Arecha Park, and I know I started bidding against you once or twice, which you weren't too happy about, I think, in the beginning, but afterwards it was fine. Pushing up the prices.
Yeah. You know, Leroy. Yeah, I also recall that day when we met. I wasn't necessarily unhappy per se, but I've just realized that we should have also done what the black guys has done, because clearly they were having discussions beforehand and say, listen,
Yeah.
We're going to make sure that you get this one and you get this one and you get this one, and I just thought that's the best way to do it, because competition is good, but at the end of the day, I don't think we want to enrich the banks that much. I think because if we put up the prices, the banks are the people that benefit, and we as a community don't benefit. Hence, I decided to say no. Instead of being unhappy that Leroy is bidding against me, maybe I should help him, coach him, and then at least we also start like a small little Arecha Park consortium, if you like, and just to say, here we are, like you said, 8-10 years later, and yeah, we're hopefully going to grow from strength to strength.
Yeah.
So the answer is no. I haven't been to the auction for the last time. I remember the last time actually was when I bought this development land here in Arecha Park, and I remember you last year sometime when you thought I had some inside information. No, I did not.
I don't think you do. Because how can you buy? Because that land, when you bought it, I was thinking. Now, obviously, it was, and everyone was like, "Wow, that was a good buy. It was a great buy." But then, for me at the time, obviously, I said, "Glenn, what's he gonna do with that land?" And suddenly, there's billion rand developments happening all around that land. I was like, now I see. This man had information which we did not have.
And I'm going to again say to you, I promise you, I've got no reason to deny it. It was just logic. And you know what? On this discussion, I think we're going to encourage young entrepreneurs also. Sometimes I'm not really a person that normally goes with my gut, but that was one of the purchases that I went with my gut, because logic just said to me that Arecha Park has been exhausted. There hasn't been a lot of land available, especially in Arecha Park, and that's what drove me to buy that. The only inside information I had was that the bank was not going to buy it back. That's it. But Leopold development, I don't even think it was on the cards yet. At the stage, I mean, you won't even believe me, is that I only found out 2 years ago that there's a provincial road running through that pocket of land that I so I'm still being even surprised with like you said, with what a good buy it was. So yeah, property. Yeah, I think you know why you fell in love with it. I definitely fell in love with the property game. Probably just over 20 years ago. You're talking 10 years. Not give away my age, but yeah. I started very similar to you. Also at the time we were also about just one or two guys from Recha Park really buying and that time it was Recha Park and Delmo Park.
Yeah.
So I bought a lot up there in Recha Park and Delmo Park. And then I left it for a while, but it's a bug, it's a bug. Property is a bug. If the bug has bitten you, then you'll come back. You'll come back more and more and more. So yeah, hopefully there's good things in store for us and for us as a community, especially as a colored people as well. And we need to encourage more youngsters to get into the space and to look after our communities. And I mean, yesterday. Youth Day. I think the buzzword was township economics, and I think we're lacking a bit behind in as colored communities with the township economics, and we need to start really focusing, grow it, and grow the youth and the young entrepreneurs to take up their space because it's just going to get tougher and tougher over the years. So the sooner we get them in, the better, I think.
Yeah, no, that's good, and I think you're the best person to guide us with that, because I saw that I said, when I said maybe just give some of the youth, once we get to the end of it, maybe give some advice to the young people, because I saw that the youth unemployment is 76%. So that tells us people between, because I'm 1 year, 35 is a youth. I'm not a youth anymore, right? Although I still look like one, I still feel like one, but I'm missed with 1 year. So that tells us 76% of the ages between is it 18 and 35 are unemployed, basically. So that's scary, eh? That's scary.
Scary statistic, Leroy. And I'm going to say to you know what the sad thing is. I remember during my student days and when I studied, because I studied basically development studies and policy and governance, and it's sad because I think as early as 25, 30 years ago, there was a realization that the only thing is that's going to save this country's economy is entrepreneurship, is people going to self-employment and business owning at the time, and I think it's even more of a realization today that we have to just encourage people to become self-employed, because there's no way that not even the private sector is going to be able to create jobs for the amount of unemployment that we've got. Government has proven that they don't have the capacity. So I think your township economics is going to become the saving grace of this country, and entrepreneurship is going to have to be at the forefront of addressing the unemployment crisis. I must be honest, in my opinion.
That's true, Adrian, and I think that's what a lot of people are sending out CVs and CVs and CVs, and there's no jobs, and sooner or later you're gonna have to start to sell something instead of sending out a CV, eh?
Yeah, no, sad. I mean, I take my kids for instance. I mean, all of them are sitting with 4-year degrees, and they're struggling. They're struggling to find work. So, even having that matric plus 4, matric plus 5 anymore is not good enough. We really have to start encouraging our people to become entrepreneurs, and more especially without coming across as being xenophobic or whatever the case may be. we have to start taking back our own communities, our own informal economies in the countries. It's not good. It's not good in your communities. That is, it's not good enough renting space out to other entrepreneurs if you've got the capacity and the means to actually do it yourself and do it for yourself. So these are things we're going to have to start to get together and encourage and put forward out there. It's going to get much worse before, if it's even going to get better. Yeah, I mean, if I can just give people a little bit of background about where and when I started. I mean, again,
yeah, that's what be my question now. Let's tell us where you started and how you started.
Yeah, so again, after obtaining a degree, you think that you're gonna get into the corporate world, and you're just gonna climb the corporate ladder, and even, I mean, again, without giving away my age, I mean, I matriculated in 88, and I left university at 90 in 91, 92. And I mean, even back then, the space was too small for you to grow. If you're a driven person and you're an ambitious person, to grow as in a corporate environment as quickly as you wanted to. So, and I was employed in a fairly senior position in First National Bank at the time. I mean, I was a personal assistant to the divisional legal advisor. So you know what, it was a decent position. I stayed in the bank for about 2 years, and then obviously when things started opening up in 1992, 93, 94, obviously we were not a people that was too familiar with the airline industry and whatever. So it was a bug that most youngsters went for. I also went for it, and I must say that's one of the things that I don't regret.
Were you a flight attendant? Did you go as a...
Yes, I mean, I went from a corporate environment from a junior manager in the bank to become a flight attendant, and I don't regret it for one bit, because I mean, the world traveling for me was an experience that I would encourage anyone to do. I mean, for me it's an honor, and I think sometimes we minimize these things, but the percentage of people that has been able to see the world, especially if you work for the airline, to almost see the world for free, it puts you in good stead in your business career going forward. So yeah, then I was a flight attendant for 2 years at the airline, but again, obviously having a bit of an academic qualification, whatever, I thought, maybe I can contribute a little bit more on the business side. And then I applied for jobs at the in the corporate side of the airline, and I was fortunate enough that I got those jobs. And I was in procurement and product development on the in-flight services side, which is the cabin crew side, basically, if you like. And then there was, I must say, SAA and the government and the parastatals at the time had very good programs for graduates and potential graduates at the time. I remember SAA had a program called Future Leaders, and they've identified graduates, especially previously disadvantaged individuals, graduates, to partake in these programs. And and then one day I just had the courage, and I went and I spoke to my boss, who was an Indian guy, who was an auditor who just took over our department. And I said to him, what, I think I want to go try something on my own. And, I'll declare, but I want to do business. I'm probably going to do business with the airline, because I love the industry. I love whatever. And as long as I declare, I don't want any special treatment, but I'm going to take a gamble. And the guy,
So you telling him, listen, you're gonna do your own thing, but you still want to work, but you want to start the business on the side.
No. It wasn't. No, it wasn't allowed. It wasn't allowed at all. It's not as flexible as they are these days within government and wherever, where government officials and municipal administrators have run their business on the side. No. You had to resign.
Yeah. Okay.
So, which was a huge risk, but I suppose at the time the space was big enough for you to take those.
How old were you at the time, Adrian?
I was 25 at the time. Yeah.
And you were married with kids, or you still single? There's no responsibilities, or what?
I got married the same year.
Yeah.
I was fortunate that a partner that saw my vision and was prepared to take the risk with me. And I'm ever so grateful for that. And then I embarked on this journey. Believe it or not, my pension fund at the time was 16,000 rand. 16,000 rand at the time was my pension fund. I managed to build my wife a new kitchen and start and buy my first batch of equipment that I supplied to SAA at the time. And then I must say that there was a gentleman that inspired me. He's still a friend today, Clayton Daniels. I remember driving my wife to work, and I would always see him on the highway with his little Bentham, and he had CNC pest control on his little Bentham. And that gave me the courage to say to my wife, can you see that guy? You see that colored guy there that's driving there next to us? Yeah. We see him here on this road every morning on the M2 West. Why shouldn't I not take the chance?
Yeah.
And she backed me, and that's basically how I started. So I've been basically supplying SAA until last year, until COVID. Yeah. So since I started in 1996, 97, up until last year, I was a supplier of them, and I grew, and I must say they were very good to me, and the airline was very good to me, and I'm hoping that there'll be an opportunity again when the airline relaunches in the next couple of months. Oh. I can just show you a couple of products here in my office that I supplied. That I supplied the airline, and projects that we worked on just before COVID.
Yeah.
So yeah, these are the type of things that I grew into supplying the airline.
No.
And then I had staff that was working for me that got to know the business so well, Leroy, that I wasn't needed anymore, and I cannot sit still.
That's good. Eh?
Yeah, I hate sitting still.
That's when you know you've got a successful business, when you are necessary.
Absolutely, when you're no longer needed at the office.
So you've done well there.
Yeah, and then again, this friend that I mentioned to you earlier, Clayton. Then we met and we talked, and then one day he said to me, "Hey, you know what? I'm working for this property portfolio company, Old Mutual Properties, and they're nagging me to go into maintenance and renovations, and I don't want to, man. You know what? I love what I'm doing. I'm a pest control and hygiene person, and I want to stick in that space." And I said to him, "I'll take it on. He says, "Are you sure?" I said, "Yes, I'm sure." So we had another friend, Sean Prince, who was working for Christopher Billings at the time, and they were also doing very well as colored entrepreneurs in the cleaning side of it. And Sean was also wanting to go on his own, and we met and we set up, and we met the guys from Old Mutual Properties, and we said to the guys, "Well, you know, we actually want to offer you a one-stop shop, you know, in that Adrian will be doing the maintenance and renovation side of it and tenant installations, and Sean will be doing the cleaning side of it, and then Clayton will obviously be doing the hygiene side of it." So for about 3 or 4 years, we formed a group called ACS, which was Adrian, Clayton, Sean. group, and we used to have some serious clients back then. You know, it was your Old Mutual Property, Raw Properties, a couple of the banks, Standard Bank, and the likes, and we offered them that turnkey service. And I had a couple of very qualified friends that also joined me at the time, and again, I was not needed.
So now there's two businesses that are doing well and they don't need you anymore.
Yeah, you know what? Don't worry. We'll run this region, and we'll run this region, and we'll run that region, and then again, I was not needed. And then I said, okay, what's my next challenge? And then I said, okay, franchising. Let's try franchise. So
I saw the first one.
Yeah, that was the time when most of the universities were building these student centers in the place, and then I applied to famous brands, which they Steers Holdings. I applied to them, and they gave me, I think I was only the third or so 3-in-1 franchise in the country at the time. Steers, Debonair's, and
yeah, Steers, Debonair, and the Fisherways is the Fisherways.
That's correct. The combo stores.
How much was a store back then, Adrian? I'm just curious.
I paid just over 900,000 rand for the store.
Yes, how much is it now?
Now you're probably looking at about close to 1.5 each, if not 2 million each. So you're probably looking at about 6 million rand now for a store. So then I ventured into that, and you know what, my team, especially my construction team, would pop in at the shop, and then we'd have meetings there, and we'll have lunch at my shop at the restaurants at Wits, and then they'd go out from there, because fortunately most of my clientele was based in central Johannesburg and the north. You know, Rosebank, Sandton, Old Mutual Properties was mostly based there. So I actually basically started using my shop as almost like a base, a base where the guys come and we'd have meetings, and then they would go and go attend to the business. I must say the franchise business was a bit challenging for two reasons. Is that I was a young married guy. My younger brother Myron, though, he was basically my right hand man at the franchises, because he was basically my general manager, if you like. He looked after all three of them. If I'm not around, and he managed to give me some time and space, family time and space, because I was recently married, and it took a toll. It took a toll because, you know what, when you leave in the mornings, your kids are sleeping, and then you come back at night and your kids are sleeping, and that's 7 days a week, and you know, after you just see that the kids has grown the store, and you were not part of it, and you know, and then you have to take some serious decisions. I then decided to sell. The business was doing so well that you must know, if your accountant decides to buy your business, then you must know your business is doing well.
That's true.
I promise you, and even if I look at it today, I think, you know what, the business was a very well run business, because my accountant bought it, and I mean, he was dealing with my books on a daily basis, if you like. So he knew what it was and what the potential was. And then I sold again after 2.5 years, and then I decided to come back into the property development, and the business has grown substantially, and the space was growing, and I still had the Brawl Properties, and I must say, it's been good for me, Leroy, because I was never a person that completed tenders. All my referrals was word of mouth, you know. United Asset Management, that looked after the PIC buildings, and a lot of the retail buildings would tell Brawl Properties about me, and then Brawl Properties would come to me and they would tell another property company about me, and that's how my business grew.
No, that's
yeah,
good.
to the extent that I started renovating full buildings within the Johannesburg inner city, in Rosebank, and Sandton. You know what, where we do the entire turnkey renovation, and I fell in love with it, and it really helped me. I must say, up until 2017, 2018, that we've grown substantially there. And what I normally do is, when I grow my property portfolio. So I would, whenever I've got capital and I'm in a position, yeah. And I think that's the time when I met you, more or less, because I was really capital flush, if you liked, and then I just started buying more and more and more of my own property whilst looking after other people's property. So once that bug has bitten you, then ideally you just want to grow and grow and grow until you hopefully own your own development, and God willing, that's where I want to be in the next couple of years before thinking of retirement, with the grace of God, obviously. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell. Any questions you've got for me?
Thanks for sharing that, Adrian. So you started small, eh? Like the Bible says, do not neglect.
Leroy, that's me. If you've got anything else you want to ask me, please feel free.
Okay, can you hear me?
You there, Leroy?
I'm here. Can you hear me? You breaking up slightly.
Hello?
Can you hear me? Hello.
Can you hear me, Leroy?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Adrian?
I think we've lost each other, but Leroy.
Oh man, I think your network is a bit bad on that side. I'm here. I can hear you clearly. I can see you. Can you hear me? Maybe log out and log back in. Can you hear me, Adrian? Okay, guys, we're having a bit of a Can you hear me now, Adrian? I think maybe let me phone him. So yeah, there we go. Log back in. So okay, guys. So that's an interesting story. It went from leaving his job at 25 with 16,000, putting in a kitchen, and what else did he say? Kitchen and buying his first supplies to now, as I said, to supplying SAA, and then owns a huge property portfolio. So we're gonna get him back soon. Let me ask some questions, eh? What I want to hear from him is, what were some of his challenges? What were some of the ups and downs that he faced in this journey in the last 20, 30 years that he was in? Let me phone him and see if he can log back in. So guys, if you got questions, thank you, Shaquille. I see you thrive. Reggie, how's it, brother? Stanley Cock, great entrepreneur, philanthropist without shouting about it. Sure, that's good, yeah. Net contributor to our community. Thank you, Stanley. So guys, share this, like, subscribe to the channel. This is where we have conversations with entrepreneurs that inspire and experts to admire. Let me get this expert back on here. Adrian. Yeah, guys, this is the thing with we went online, and now you have these Wi-Fi challenges. And you've got load shedding every now and again. Yeah, he's back. There we go. Adrian, ons jou bietjie verloor daarso. Yes, ek het laat wat verloor, ek dink jou netwerk het bietjie lag daarso.
Ja, sê my maar ek dink ja, dis jammer man. Ja, so ek dink ek was in elk geval aan die einde, so as enige vrae is.
Ja, ek wil gevra
ek dink ek was in elk geval aan die einde van my baie praat, so julle kan maar vra as daar is.
Yeah, Ned, and so Shaquille say, I'm really happy to hear from a mature individual. He says travel opens the mind. Stanley Cox says,
kom ek kyk of ek 'n beter spot kan kry.
Your network is bad aan die office.
Collect the Wi-Fi aan.
Okay, guys, we're just gonna wait. Give him a couple of minutes to get his Wi-Fi connected.
Oh, ons breek bietjie op, Leroy.
Ja, ons breek op hier so dit wat ek is
Hoor jy my nou?
ek hoor jou ja.
Ek
Kyk
soek 'n
vir
beter spot hierso.
Ja, dat was fine. That is the 10, 20 minutes was fine. Who's it nou? Kyk my hoor.
Hoor jy my, Leroy?
Ek hoor jou ja. Okay, guys, seems like we're having a challenge here. So we still have I've still got quite a few questions for him here that I want to ask him. And obviously, I'm sure you guys.
Ons het weer krag af hier by die office op.
Oh, toch. Okay, the electricity is off.
Breek op, né?
Ja, ons breek op. Maar
Ek hoor jou nou, ja.
hoor jy my? Kan my hoor?
Ja. Ek try net om 'n beter spot te kry. So ek sien nie net hoe dit daar so ja, veel beter, né?
Ja,
Ja,
ek hoor.
much better, Leroy. Ja.
Ja, okay, kyk vir is ons fyn. Hello.
Yeah, please proceed. I think I found a better spot now.
All right. Now, Adrian, I want to ask you, in your last 20 years, now you said okay, now we know last year was COVID-19, right? We had lockdowns.
Kan ek dit nou 'n regte spot gekry het?
Ja, nee, ek sien wie lyk, ja, sien jy nou van 'n ander angle of ook.
Yes. Proceed, asseblief, Leroy.
All right. So tell us maybe.
Yeah, I think I found a better spot now.
Okay, that's good.
Breek ek nog steeds op?
Nee, ek kan jou hoor.
Steeds op.
Ek hoor jou nog clearly. Okay, no, hello?
Ja, ek loop maar 'n bietjie rond, maar net om beter te kry.
Ja, nee, is 'n bietjie challenging nou many wat opbreek. Maar anyway, kom ek
hoor jou, ja, so gaan maar voort met daai vraag in die laaste 20 jaar.
Okay, in die laaste 20 jaar of laas jaar was COVID.
Yes, ek het Leroy, jy kan praat. Ek hoor jou.
Okay. Obviously in die tyd was alles was seker nie rosy nie. En jy weet, as jy met property is en jy deel met clients en jy deel met goeie as challenges,
yes,
right?
Ek hoor jou, Leroy.
Wat was paar van die ups van die challenges waar jy geface het in die laaste in besigheid? Miskien paar een of twee van die goeie challenges wat sê okay, die was regtig 'n challenge wat ek geface het en miskien nie hoe ek dit geovercome het. Miskien net een of twee. Ek weet COVID was een. Miskien kom ons begin by COVID. Hoe was COVID? 2020.
Tough for my last year. Especially the airline kan soos ons almal nou weet het die airline basically tot 'n volle stilstand gekom. So ja, COVID was tough for me, ek moet eerlik wees. Fortunately het ek gediversify en dit het my gedra. So ek fokus nou currently meer weer soos ek gesê het op die property and construction kant en ek dink daai is die importance van diversification, you know. If I only had all my eggs in one basket, I must be honest, I don't know what I would have done last year. So that it was tough. And if I say tough, you know, the first thing that you're very concerned about is the people that's working for you and that's dependent on you. And I think that's arguably for me the number one and first challenge of entrepreneurship is the amount of people that's dependent on you, the families that look to you for almost everything, you know. They're dependent on you, and it doesn't matter how many times you think of quitting and giving up, but when you realize that, you know what, you've got a probably extended family of 100 people between the two companies that's dependent on you, then you just got to keep on going. People might think it looks easy. We put up a brave face, but yeah, it's not very easy. But it's needed. It's needed, and yeah, you just have to keep on going. So COVID for me tough. Must remember I haven't experienced a real downturn in my life ever since I started, because like I said to you, every time that I was not needed, I took on another challenge and I grew it and I made a success of it.
Better.
I took, yeah. So I diversified a lot. The second biggest challenge is, I think it came out again strongly from the youth yesterday, is that and again, fortunately for me, I was never really dependent on the banks or finance houses or whatever. I for the most part built my own capital, so I would not really need them. And then finally, the space that I would say people need to, when they start, go into, but eventually also make sure you get out of, and you're not completely dependent on, in this country, is contracting, for lack of a better word. So if you are too dependent on contracting work, which means, you know, tenders and business that's dependent on you competing with someone else, and that someone else has got the final say about whether you're going to get it or don't get it. I'm now really pushing hard to get out of that space where I'm in control of my destiny, and because that space is become very, very exaggerated, if you like, and how can I put it? It's exhausted, yeah, almost exhausted. And that's why entrepreneurs, that if I'm going to encourage young entrepreneurs today, it is to do something that you are not dependent on someone else having to make the decision on your success. You know, it's a tender or a connection, or and they can take it away from you tomorrow. Because I must be honest with you, since I started with the airline in 1996, 97, you know, it's always a 3-year renewal, and then you stress every time it comes to your last 6 months. You worried, you know, did you do enough? Are you going to get it again? You know, and you had to grow. But I must say, it's been good to me. But it's also because I know I'm a very good operator. When I operate a business, I make sure that I do it properly, and that I don't jeopardize, and I build good relations. But yeah, that stress remains with you all the time. Is that, you know what? Our contract is coming up for renewal, you know, 3 years, and then
I can jump in there. We also started with Transnet. We also supplying them with stuff, did cleaning, you know, whatever things they needed, and it went well, for a few years, 5 years, 6 years. Then procurement changed, and when procurement changes, then everything changes, And yeah, and that's when we also realized, and we said, bought a food franchise, went into property, did some other things to also, some of them went well, some of them didn't go well. But then I also said, listen, never again you're gonna be in this where you have to tender every 2-3 years for stuff, because when these people change, and obviously, especially if it's a government like it was a Transnet, when it changes, and then when your contract comes to an end, you change it, they change you as well. So that's good advice there. Maybe one of the other ones, your bar, the bar. So you say COVID, the bar burned down. How was that as well? So maybe that's another challenge. Can you hear me? Hello? Yeah, guys. No, I think we're gonna cut this short. I think we've gotten so much value from Adrian. We might get him on later on, but I don't think this is gonna. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was about yeah, well, that's about a year before COVID. Yes, I can, Leroy. Um, yeah, so that's about.
There's a bit of a lag, so there's a bit of a delay.
Can I proceed?
Yeah, go for it, go for it.
Yeah, but okay, let me see the lessons for it. Okay, yeah, so yeah, that's about just over a year before COVID when the place burned down. Um, you know what, Leroy? I don't know. Probably by the grace of God, I did not dwell on it. You know what? Up until today, we still don't know what, why,
What was it,
how,
sabotage or was it
whatever the
just an
case may be.
accident?
Um, I can just clarify to say there was never insurance. I built out of my pocket. It was my money. There is no insurance claims. There was no nothing. Uh, but again, like I said, say again, Lira.
No, I said, was it just a
Just
accident?
repeat that
Something
question.
happened? I said, was it sabotage or was it or what did the
Well,
thing
no,
just?
I basically I lost everything. But like I said, again, through the grace of God, um, we we are convinced it was sabotage. We convinced it was sabotage because um the same day that it burned down, we were busy installing cameras and we were installing an alarm system, and we were getting ready for us to insure the place and making sure that we looked after. So that same week that we were going to basically sort out insurance and whatever. No, it was definitely sabotage. I'll tell you why we believe it was sabotage. Is that my daughter's vehicle that was standing in the yard was very far away from the section that burned, and that was torched separately and individually. We definitely found the tools outside, uh, uh, outside the premises. So we strongly believe it was a break-in. And then when the alarm and the cameras went off, I think the people panicked and they didn't want us to see them on the cameras, and they decided to torch the place. So it could have just been a break-in going wrong, but no, it was definitely not. It definitely wasn't an accident. It was human involvement, if you like. So now you know what, that's an episode that I've put behind me. I think almost the next day. I just upped and I went to work and I went to speak to some of my contacts in the private sector in the property side, and I just said to them, you know what, I think I'm ready to get the
Yeah,
space.
yeah.
So yeah, no, I still don't want to dwell on it today. I believe that the land is still got huge potential. I think I touched on it with you offline. What my plans is there. Yeah, but just to encourage the youngsters is guys, don't be afraid to take chances. Don't be afraid to just go for it. Try to become independent. Try to become financially free as soon as possible. Invest and grow, and yeah, become entrepreneurs and self-employed, because there's not enough jobs in this country or in the world, for that matter, to sustain everyone. And community is going to become the buzzword. And fortunately, I think we've got a very strong base and leadership in Reiger Park that's always trying and wanting to assist and help people. But I think we still have a lot to do as business leaders, and to grow the Reiger Park township economy. But we're going to have to start supporting one another big time, and grow and share, and especially share ideas, and be there for one another. Community strength and unity is going to bring out the strength in communities going forward, I believe.
No, awesome. Thanks, Adrian. Thanks for sharing. I think you gave a lot of value there. Yeah, if you can see from the comments, Laura says, hello, Kazi. Laura Mayberg. And he says, Adi has shared some great ideas on the establishment of a micro business helping hand model in the community. So, no, what? Adi has shared some great ideas on the establishment of a micro business helping hand model in the community. Would he share on the platform? But okay, but I think that's fine. So yeah, we got some good comments. So people are loving it. Maybe we should get you back in a couple of months again when you have time.
Yeah, I feel. Anytime, and Leroy, feel free to share my detail with any of the young entrepreneurs, and if they want to even contact me one-on-one to share ideas and stuff, I'm ready, willing, and able.
No, that's awesome. So maybe give us your details. Give us where can we go? Get a hold of you, or where do we find you? Are you on social media? Or maybe an email address that you can share with us?
Yeah, obviously, you guys. Yeah, not at all. Yeah, I'll share my email address. And you can share my telephone number. Yeah, so my email address, you've got it. I think you can share it with.
No, I'll put it in the comment section. Put your email in the comment section.
adland@absamail.co.za. That's ADLAND@absamail.co.za. My contact number 083-296-0364. Yeah, that's the only social media you'll find me on.
We should start getting with the times here. So, ladies and gentlemen, conversations with entrepreneurs that inspire and experts to admire. So we had a real entrepreneur here, an inspiring man, one of my mentors, someone we look up to in the community, who's done very well and who keeps inspiring us to go for our dreams and to keep doing more. When I because obviously you're doing well. Someone is doing well, but I don't know everything that you do. And one day I jogged past your house with Alistair in lockdown, and we were jogging in the village, and I jogged past your house, and that's when I really saw. I said, "Oh wow, this man is really doing well." When I saw that mansion, I was like, "Wow, okay." I knew he was doing a lot of things and doing well.
Yeah, you know what? We don't.
I said, "Wow, this is one of the nicest houses."
We don't want to be judged by those things.
No, but it's nice. That's nice. It's inspiring.
Yeah, no, listen, no, it is, and I believe, and my friends know it. I always say that I believe all of us has got it in us. We just got to make that leap, and I'm here to help and assist and give advice. If there's youngsters that wants to get into the space is big enough. But yeah, we have to become independent, financially free, and start focusing on the township economics. Very important, and the youth there is a lot of avenues for you guys to explore, and guys like myself and Leroy,
Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining. Remember to like, share this, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and I'm going to share Adrian's details share his details. If you want to send him an email, if you want to have advice, he's one of the few people that actually would give you. A lot of people don't take the time out to do that. So, Adrian, I think we've come to an end. Thank you so much. We appreciate it a lot, and thank you for taking the time out. I'll put your details in the comment section. Maybe stay online.
Thank you, Leroy. Thanks for inviting me, and all the best.
Thanks so much. Don't put off. I'm gonna end the broadcast, but just so we can chat about
you there, Leroy.
Okay, cheers, guys. All the best. See you next week.